Hey everyone, Ryan here at M&R Productions, and today we're reviewing a legendary LEGO Star Wars set. In fact, this is legendary for probably one thing and one thing only, and that is the LEGO Star Wars Phase 2 Captain Rex minifigure included in the set. This is, of course, 75012 Barc Speeder with Sidecar from Star Wars The Clone Wars, released in the great year of 2013, one of the best years of LEGO Star Wars ever. I'll have a playlist linked below to all of my 2013 LEGO Star Wars set reviews. When this released, it retailed for just $25 with 226 pieces, and this one was exclusive to Walmart in the United States, so that did make this a bit more scarce, and perhaps is part of the reason the Captain Rex is, on its own is now worth well over $100. And this set, if you want to buy it today on eBay or Bricklink, wherever you buy your old LEGO sets, is going to cost you at least $200. I mean, often they will go in the 200s, but I went on eBay just before recording this, and the cheapest I saw one for buy it now was $350. That is insane. But enough about how much it's going to cost you. Let's talk about that box art. Pretty nice little desert look there with the tower in the back, it looks like, out in the distance. And then we have the Yoda on the top right, because that's the 2013 box art in green there. You have your figures on the bottom right, which I think look oddly small there. They definitely do it differently nowadays. But yeah, you have Obi-Wan, you have Captain Rex, and they have two of the commando droids, which weren't brand new at the time, but were still fresh enough to be exciting, I think, when this thing came out. Top of your box shows an actual size version of Rex. It's like they almost knew he'd be the popular character in this one. The left side, not too exciting, just some different languages, and our box art picture again. The right side, somehow even less exciting. And then you'll see a few different angles of the Barc Speeder with Sidecar, and then the speeder for the commando droid. You can see how the Barc Speeder can swing around, and a few other things that this set can do that we'll take a look at during this video. Unboxing old sets is always a treat, and this one especially so, given its rarity and legendary status within the LEGO space. So inside, we should find, I think, totaling up to 2 numbered bags. So maybe it's also worth mentioning that I did buy this technically brand new, but the bag 1 had been opened, so it's actually partially built, as you can see. And then we have the figures here in this separate little bag, and then finally bag 2 is completely sealed as it was when it came out of the factory. And then you can even see the instructions here have a nice little snake bend to them. That's not ideal. I'll probably just use digital instructions for this, because you're not really going to be able to use these very easily. The first 2 figures up are both of the commando droids. I feel like it's something I forget about this set, but yeah, there's actually 2 of them in here. And like I said earlier, these were newer at the time, not brand new. I don't find them as exciting today as I did 10 years ago, but these are still really cool to see. Just something different from LEGO Star Wars for the droid side of things, and they're still pretty fancy looking. They use the Super Battle Droid legs with a custom head for the commando droid, and then they use the regular battle droid torso and arms. They do have an additional little red dot there, so that's some extra detail. Obi-Wan Kenobi up next. This is the later Clone Wars version of him, so a little bit better looking than what we would see in like 2008. Not quite the, finalized episode 3 version that we've seen in later years. That looks pretty good as well, but this is a really good figure. I think the only thing you can say that's bad about it is the quality of the print on the legs, which is supposed to be the same color tan as the waist and torso. However, due to LEGO's poor printing quality there, you can see that it's a very faded tan. Just not a good look for a premium product. Nonetheless, his hair and beard look really nice, and he does actually have a second facial expression underneath that head, so you can see a much angrier face there, and he does have the blue lightsaber. So overall, it's a really good figure. I don't think it's one that's particularly expensive today like the Captain Rex we're about to see, but I think it was a really good addition for the set. And last, we have the minifigure that is the pretty much sole reason this set is so expensive. This figure's worth well over $100 and is regarded as one of the best LEGO Clone Trooper minifigures ever made, if not the best. It just depends on who you ask. But it's also a white whale for a lot of people. They desperately want him in their collection, and the price slightly, maybe more than slightly, reflects that. So, I mean, this thing's really cool looking. It's perhaps one of the most complete looking Clone Troopers LEGO's ever put out. I mean, they've got the blue arms, you've got printing all the way down the figure, you got leg printing, maybe, modern day would have some foot printing. They use the black waist piece there instead of what they use now. They use the white one. And then the waist cape itself is also black. I think that looks better when it's in black there. The actual plastic, it just looks good. Very detailed with a little bit of dirt on his torso there as well. You can see just slightly on there. It's not the cleanest Captain Rex ever made, but I do like that dirt and grime. I also love that he's got the marks on his helmet properly on there. Just a very detailed figure. We've got the pauldron. You can see the back there with a little bit more dirt on his torso, dual wielding blasters, and then underneath the helmet, you'll of course find Captain Rex's face. Yeah, so they give him a special face that isn't like all of the other clone trooper faces, which I think is something a lot of people, myself included, appreciate. But I mean, this is a legendary figure, and for good reason. I mean, it really does live up to what you would want out of something you're going to end up having to pay well over $100 for. So for those that are fortunate enough to own this, it's a really awesome collector's piece, and for those that aren't, it's a really cool thing to be able to aspire to hopefully one day own. It's certainly possible they could re-release this figure, or make a new one rather, soon, but as of now, they have shown very little desire to do that. So this remains the lone Phase 2 Captain Rex option. We'll start with the Separatist Speeder, and I think it's a really good one. It definitely is a little dated at this point in time, but really, for 2013, very good. It does have a lot of stickers on the back end, so you'll see the Separatist logo there, and then a lot of blue striping with gray throughout the rest of the back end of the speeder. I do like this kind of ventilation look on the side. See the other side here, kind of the same, very symmetrical build. Kind of have the pedals or whatever down here. They just look very nice. These are typically found on these speeders. Also really like the aerodynamics of the front. Looks very good with the blue and the gray. And then you have the seating area for your droid. However, he can't sit down. He's too tall. So you have your commando droid, and you actually have to stand him up, and then he can grab on. Wait a second. How does he grab? Am I missing something? Is this how he has to stand? No way. I don't remember this. There's no way. Did I build this wrong? Upon further examination of the box, it does appear that way. You can see his legs are angling back. His butt is up against the back of the speeder there. So that is correct. I just didn't remember that this is how it was done back then. I guess I didn't play with this a whole ton. Maybe I had never even attempted to do this, because a lot of times when I got sets, you know, back in the mid 2010s, I don't even know if I reviewed this set originally, you know, like I just put it together and I was like, cool, now I have this for my collection. And this is a little bit jarring. Like, that's not good. So that's maybe the worst aspect of the set. That is surprisingly bad. That doesn't look good. But yeah, overall, the speeder looks great. Just, I guess, ignore that he's so oddly placed there. It looks so funny to me. We do have a much better speeder over here, though, that is not going to fall victim to the same issues. I know that. This is the Barc Speeder with Sidecar. This is the only time LEGO has ever made a full version of this vehicle in LEGO Star Wars. We have had versions of this Barc Speeder that are pretty similar, not quite the same color scheme, but pretty similar for the Barc Speeder, just without the sidecar. So we'll start with the Barc Speeder first. And the color scheme on this is phenomenal. You've got the dark red, the dark gray, and then a little bit of light gray mixed in there, which I think just look so excellent. The stickers actually add a lot of detail to this one too. You've got them on the flaps on the side, which are angled in. You can see on all four of them there. And then we've got some down the spine of the speeder. You can see one lonely sticker at the front, and even on the side here with the proper Republic logo on the side of the speeder. Looks very nice. I think generally this is one that a lot of people like, and so you actually have a small seat here for a character like Obi-Wan to be seated in, and he can actually sit in there properly, unlike our commando droid on the Separatist Speeder, and he looks really good when he's on there. I think that's a really good look for the Barc Speeder. He doesn't look like out of sorts there, so just generally very nice. The actual Barc Speeder, though, doesn't have any like projectiles or anything that it shoots, which I think is a good thing in a lot of people's eyes. The sidecar does have some flick-fire missiles, which can be a detractor for some. For me, I think they look fine, especially because I like the piece that they use on the end there with kind of the blue bubble. Just a bit of a unique part that they don't always use on these stud shooters. I think they were also used on the Republic Attack Shuttle in 2009, but just a generally different look than what you would normally see. And then, of course, the gun here, which cannot rotate, maybe another bad aspect of the sidecar. The weapon just sits straight, and maybe that's accurate. I'm actually not sure, but I do know for a fact that as it sits now, it doesn't rotate. We can actually sit Captain Rex down. Even though he's got the waist cape on, it actually does move out of the way to allow him to be seated just like a normal minifigure without a waist cape. So that may surprise some. We do have a couple of clear studs on the bottom. Just those basically are just to even out how the sidecar sits in relation to the Barc Speeder. I don't think those would be necessary if the sidecar was like its own standalone thing, if that makes sense. So if we look to the bottom of the sidecar, we see kind of this A shape here, and that is what somewhat supports the sidecar. We also have this Technic axle that crosses out from the Barc Speeder to the sidecar to give it additional support, and that's actually where it's going to rotate about on the very end of this. And you'll notice that this really is kind of just there for looks. I mean, I think it does support it somewhat here so that it doesn't go too low when you're just holding it up, but really you can actually swing the sidecar out from that, and you can spin it around 180 degrees. And just to give you a better idea of how that would look in action with like playing, here's the separatist droid. Comes in behind the Barc Speeder, and obviously you have the sidecar flipped around, and you can flip it around at really any angle between fully flipped around and not flipped around. But this sort of L-shaped Star Wars vehicle that as you're flying around, if you're Obi-Wan, you have Captain Rex shooting out the side. It's odd, but I could definitely see the appeal for younger kids. Obviously me as a collector that just likes to put things on shelves, that's how I'm gonna leave it, and it's not moving, all right? I think for 25 bucks back in 2013, and I actually don't think I mentioned this up front, but if adjusted for inflation, that's about $30 in today's money. That's really fair. I mean, especially when you're getting what is a really awesome and desirable figure with a Phase 2 Captain Rex, very nice Obi-Wan, and a couple Commando droids. I think that's a fair price. Plus, it's just like a pretty substantial build, I think. Like, you know, 2 vehicles, and you can get a lot of play value out of that for kids. So for 25 bucks back then, $30 equivalent now, very, very fair. The question of whether or not you should buy this in today's market is a little bit of a tougher one. And I think if you really want this set, you got to be a hardcore fan of Lego Star Wars or Star Wars that really just loves that Phase 2 Captain Rex. Otherwise, I think there's better Barc Speeders you can get from other sets, or you can even get, you know, separatist speeders like this out of other sets. This is not the only set you can get those sorts of things, and even the Commando droids come in other sets. Really, the focus on this comes down to Captain Rex, and if you're buying this new and sealed box, you're paying like $300. I mean, that's a tough question to have to answer. It's a lot of work you're gonna have to put in to get that $300 for a lot of people, and it's just not the easiest thing to make yourself pull the trigger on, but it is a really cool set. If you go out and spend $300 on this, not to say you can't find a good deal. I mean, I say good luck trying to find a good deal on something like this. They do not come often. You just kind of have to get lucky. But when you compare what you can get for $300 with this versus $300 with like an actual Lego set, you can end up with something, you know, bigger than that Slave 1 there. Just the actual amount of material you're getting here is not a lot, but again, it all comes down to the love of Phase 2 Captain Rex. Anyways, let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Do you own this set? Do you want to buy this set? Can you just not afford it? I wish Lego would re-release that Phase 2 Captain Rex, because I think it would kind of bring the price of this set down for people that want this set as well. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed this epic old Lego Star Wars set review, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.